The good, the bad, and the odd. Our favorite quote from Nosferatu is...
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We're hosts Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
Right, so today we thought we'd do Van Helsing because we just happened to have watched it recently. I want to mention I've been on a podcast talking about Dracula recently, talking about all the movies of Dracula, so Van Helsing gets a brief mention there. That podcast is the United Nations of Horror, and that episode will be coming out imminently. It may well be out by the time this one gets out, but United Nations of Horror, go and have a look. It's all about Dracula. I talk about 30 odd Dracula films, I think, Van Helsing being one of them. But it was very brief in that, so let's talk about it in more detail here. Right, before we get going, though, we got some feedback. Very unusual, because I never asked for it, maybe. It might be something to do with me. But, you know, if anyone does want to send feedback, the best thing to do is email info@thegoodthebadandtheodd.com or come onto our Facebook group. If you search Facebook for The Good, the Bad and the Odd, you'll find our Facebook group. Just ask to join and I'll let you in and you can interact with us. Well, with me there. You're not really part of it, are you, Sam? You're not?
No, I tend to just sort of...
Not bothered. But I'm certainly on there and around. Anyway, we've got some feedback. Now, this is from someone we know, Alex, who has written in and left feedback before. He lived in our village. He's currently at university, and he'll be back next summer. I think he should be finished if all goes well. I think I could be wrong. So yeah, he's dropped us some feedback. Here we go. Dear Mark and Sam, I continue to listen to your podcast as I try and trudge my way through university work, albeit to varying success. Oh dear. A movie I've never heard you guys mention before, unless I've missed it, is the Netflix original Shaft. It's a good mixture of the good, the bad, and the odd. Well, we like mixtures of good, the bad, and the odd. That's what we're all about. It's been a while since we put one in our Hall of Fame, actually, isn't it? It's been a long time since we've done it. So it's a Samuel L. Jackson crime-ish movie where he attempts to relive his heyday through poorly placed quips and quotes. I think it's up the street of anyone who likes Samuel L. Jackson or bizarrely good but bad movies. I thought you guys might enjoy. Hope you're well and keep up the good work. Regards, Alex. Well, thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, well, we took that on advisement and actually watched the trailer, didn't we, this morning, just to see what it looks like. And it looks fun. It does look, and we're gonna follow through on this, Alex. We're gonna try and watch it and cover it on a very episode coming soon. Might be the next main one. We're not sure yet. We'll see how we go. But we're gonna watch that. And if anyone wants to sort of join in, go watch it on Netflix. If you got Netflix, it's free. Why not, right? It looks a good fun movie. I do enjoy it very much. The original Shaft. Richard Roundtree, but I never saw the updated one with Samuel L. Jackson when he was younger, which I think was made early 2000s. I remember it's got Christian Bale as a white supremacist bad guy. It's supposed to be pretty good, but I've just never seen it. So we're gonna try and watch this latest incarnation. And if we like it, we may go back and have a look at some of the others. We'll see. Okay, so Van Helsing. Did we go see this at the cinema? Probably not, right?
No, I wouldn't be too young.
You would have been too young. 2005, I want to say, or 2004. Now, this was interesting. Before we get into the main film, there was actually also, they released it like an animated short prequel to it, didn't they? Called The London Assignment, which we've also seen, but a long time ago. Basically, it's set in London, as the name suggests, and he's kind of chasing down weird murders. A bit Jack the Ripper-ish because it's Victorian London. And it's Van Helsing and Friar Carl are going to investigate, and it turns out it's Dr. Jekyll. And there's all this stuff about him trying to marry or be with Queen Victoria by making her young and all this, that and the other. It's, what is it, half an hour or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the page, 33 minutes. It was all right. It's not bad, but, it was just a prequel to this. Interestingly, the conclusion of that bit of anime is at the beginning of Van Helsing, isn't it? It actually starts. Right, let's talk about the film itself. Now, this one, 2004, directed by Stephen Sommers, who had successfully made a Mummy movie, The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I think he made the first 2, possibly 3. I really like that Mummy movie. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was just a fun... It was a fun remake. So
it was a fun remake. It's not. I mean, it's miles better than the Tom Cruise Mummy. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a bit adventure-y, Raiders of the Lost Ark-y kind of adventure story. But that was good. So he had some form in the horror. And, The Mummy originally was a Universal property. And, of course, Dracula and Van Helsing. And the various other characters in this are kind of riffing on the Universal
very
universe.
heavily.
Yeah, I mean, we get a wolf man, a werewolf. We get Frankenstein's monster, and we get Dracula, and some of the lines are lifted straight out of the Universal movies as well. Actually,
it's also leaning a bit on Hammer too. The brides are much more like Hammer.
You're right.
Dracula overall is much more like a Hammer character.
So the main stars of this is Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing, Kate Beckinsale's the princess type, Anna Valerius. I don't know if she's a princess, but she's some sort of a nobility, I think. And we get Dracula, Richard Roxburgh, and we get Friar Carl, his sidekick, David Wenham, and various other people. However, it starts off with him in Paris, right? If I remember rightly.
It's in Paris, finishing off the events of the London assignment, where he hunts down Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde in this, who's a bit Shrekky, isn't he?
Kind of.
He sounds a bit, and he looks a bit Shrekky. But that's kind of fun. But then he's tasked by Van Helsing's on this sort of he does the dirty work of the Vatican, really, tidying up stuff. And there's like a bit of backstory about, where he came from and forgotten sins and all this and that. Anyway, this cardinal dispatches off to Transylvania to get Dracula. It's also, I think it's also tasked with protecting this family, who descendants have been trying to get Dracula, and Dracula's vowed to kill him. Dracula's taking his time killing him, getting him through it, but she and her brother are the last ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing. What do you think of Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing?
It was pretty good.
It was fun. It's a fun film. It's the film itself is a bit frantic, isn't it? The plotting's really... They don't stop to take any breaths in this. There's no dramatic pauses whatsoever, which I think works against the film a bit. What do you reckon?
Not really. I feel like it keeps its momentum quite well.
Oh, it definitely keeps momentum, but what it doesn't do is keep you along in terms of narrative understanding of what's going on. It's like, what, why is he doing that to that door? What's going, it's all that. Anyway, it doesn't really matter that much. That. I do like his sidekick, who's a bit Q-like, right? He's giving him these inventions.
Yeah, it's David Wenham.
David Wenham. I always liked David Wenham. He was a really great Boromir, and he's a really good Friar Carl.
He was Faramir.
Faramir. Sorry, my mistake. I really like him. You don't see him much. He was in 300 as well, but I can't really think of him much else, actually. But I think he's really good as Friar Carl. And I like the fact he's kind of both a sidekick who knows about monsters and an inventor. So he makes basically a machine gun version of a crossbow for him. Yeah. That's kind of cool. And it's all this. Anyway, Van Helsing rocks up at a village which includes this spooky Undertaker dude. And no, they don't like strangers, do they? They do not like strangers. So there's all that going on, and he has to kind of live up to it. But meanwhile, as he arrives, isn't there an attack by? Is it the bride?
The bride's attack, and they're specifically after Anna Valerius, who was Kate Beckinsale. Yeah, because she's like the last member of a line that's sworn to kill Dracula.
Yeah, so, we do see a bit where Anna and her brother are attempting to trap and kill a werewolf.
Yeah, but in a very Lord of the Rings thing, the brother goes over a cliff with the werewolf. So
that's right. So you never see exactly what happens. It's the werewolf stuff is, I mean, the CGI is a bit cartoonish.
Yeah.
To say the least.
I think my favourite goofy thing about them is they have like those big pointed Doberman ears.
The werewolves, yeah. It's nice to have a wolf's head on a werewolf. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
And the CGI in the film is probably a bit ropey.
It's 2005 CGI,
yeah, it's a bit ropey.
It's not great.
Yeah, well, Lord of the Rings did okay. However, that had a way bigger budget, but it's a bit glow. However, one other, not only have we got Dracula and the werewolf and the Frankenstein's monster, and we haven't talked about Frankenstein yet, we'll get to that, is the brides are quite significant monsters in this version.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. There's 3 of them, and they're quite distinctive, and they turn into like weird creature
They turn into these big bat things.
They remind me of the harpies in Jason and the Argonauts.
A little,
look. Yeah. So there's all this. Anyway, Dracula's kind of obsessed with. Well, not obsessed. He wants the monster. And he has a werewolf looking after. A werewolf is like a minion of Dracula, isn't it?
Dracula's whole plot is basically to have children because life can't stem from undeath.
That's right.
He's been trying to have kids with his brides, but unfortunately they, I guess, lay eggs.
They lay eggs.
They lay
weird big eggs.
Weird egg sack things.
A bit alien-y. And these little weird bat homunculi come out the eggs when they're activated.
But they can't get them to live properly. So first thing they show. Well, it says that they tried on Anna and her brother's father to use them in this like a sacrifice so that the kids could live.
This is a thing I didn't understand the plot at all. I should say it opened in black and white. A very cool sequence, Frankenstein sequence, which was a real tribute to the Universals, where we see Dr. Frankenstein animate the monster, right? And we also get an Igor who's not any like any of the Universal Eagles or sidekicks. A bit, I guess, because he's always tormenting the monster.
Is it Fritz from the original?
It's a bit like Fritz, because Fritz was always tormenting the monster, wasn't it? At one point, Dracula says, "Why'd you do that?" He goes, "It's what I do," is what he says. So I prefer Bela Lugosi's Igor, frankly. But however, this was all right. And we see an angry torch-wielding mob turn up. Dracula, there's a monster. He wants the monster for his own reasons. He just kills Frankenstein, doesn't he? And the monster grabs the corpse of Frankenstein and runs up to a windmill, which is, again, the end of the Frankenstein, Universal Frankenstein, right? And it looks much the same, and then they burn it all down, and it looks like the monster's destroyed, falling through the bottom of the windmill. Much like what happened in the Universal Frankenstein. So that bit was all... the film started with that, and it was all black and white, and then we went into colour, so it was kind of cool. So now... eventually we find out the brother is still alive, but he's a werewolf, right? He became a werewolf. We're fighting the werewolf. So he's under the bidding of Dracula whenever he's a werewolf, it looks like. So there's all that. So there's all this... Try to look at his children animated. And meanwhile, there's all this breathless stuff with vampire attacks and Van Helsing and Anna running around. But there's this one twist. Dracula acts like he knows Van Helsing. He calls him Gabriel.
Yeah.
And he says he can return his memories. And it's like, what? And again, it's half-baked. It's kind of half-baked. And there's a bit of supernatural stuff. It was fine. There was a lot of running around, right? I kind of like the monster. We didn't see the monster much. He's kind of sympathetic, but he's kind of, again, you can kind of see his brain through his head. Yeah.
I quite like how sort of operatic his voice is.
Oh, yeah, it's very, bit Brian Blessedy.
Yeah.
I must do this.
His first word is, he stood at the top of the windmill, we're holding the corpse of Frankenstein, and he just looks at the crowd and goes, "Why?"
There's a bit of Victorian acting going on. So they find the monster, don't they? And they kind of work. Van Helsing's meant to kill the monster because he's supposed to kill evil things, but Van Helsing detects the monster is not intrinsically evil.
He has like a weird sense for it.
He knows what's bad and what's good, right? So there's all that.
The Vatican does want him to kill the monster.
Yeah, but he kind of doesn't want it. So Dracula is related to the Beckinsale, isn't it? That's kind of there's a blood tie.
Out,
yeah. So there's all this stuff. I'm trying to think what else. They kind of work out only a werewolf can kill Dracula. I can't remember how that happened.
Friar Carl. He finds a hidden thing in the Valerius house. And he like knocks it, and there's like a passage on the wall. And when he reads it, it's the poem about werewolves. It's like, even a man who's good by day and says his prayers by night.
Which is lifted again straight from the 1941 Wolfman, right?
Yeah, but that's how he learns how that a werewolf can kill a vampire. So
now somehow, for some reason, training up the monster, Frankenstein's monster, and getting him electrocuted. Means he does a big power surge which releases all of Dracula's children, brings them to life.
Because he's like the key to creating life, I think, was the logic.
Yeah. And we also see Van Helsing turns into a werewolf, doesn't he? He gets bitten.
He got bit a while ago, so...
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. At some point, Dracula tells Van Helsing he's actually the Archangel Gabriel. Which is
they imply quite a lot.
Oh, they imply
Dracula says that Van Helsing killed him, but there's also points where Friar Carl says that there's vague allusions to the left hand of God killing Dracula. So
okay, which may be Gabriel.
But yeah, he's pretty much an angel.
Yeah, but finally, when they basically have a big fight. Now, I have to mention Richard Roxburgh's Dracula. I think it's a pretty good Dracula. Actually, to me,
he's really creepy.
Yeah, and it's just very effective and memorable. I've watched a lot of Dracula films, and not many are that good, right? He's obviously not up there with Bela Lugosi or Christopher Lee or Gary Oldman, but I'd say he's number 4.
Yeah,
but for me,
yeah.
You know what? Weirdly, he reminded me of Gary Oldman, but not Gary Oldman doing Dracula. Gary Oldman when he was in the film Leon. For some reason. Oh, okay. It's another great Gary Oldman turn, but it kind of reminds me of it. Richard Roxburgh, I've not seen anything else I can think of. Probably have, but just didn't realise. But man, he does a good turn, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon it's very good.
Especially like the bit where Van Helsing's trying all his different, like, the traditional vampire killing things. Like, he stakes Dracula, and Dracula just sort of pulls the stake out, and then he pulls out a giant cross of silver, and Dracula grabs it, starts screaming, the cross that's on fire, melts, and he just sort of stops.
And he laughs. Yeah, it's teasing Van Helsing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? I should have mentioned the brides of it get dispatched by this means or that, eventually, crossbow or whatever. That all happens as well while all this... earlier on in the film. An older child... Once he... Basically, Van Helsing turns into a werewolf and rips his throat out and then gets a cure. So he's all right.
Anna has to try and get him with a needle, because Dracula has the cure for some reason. So they're running around trying to get the cure while Dracula's fighting Van Helsing, and she like jumps at him, but reflexively he attacks her
because he's a werewolf. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But she manages.
He stands up and it shows like the needle went in, but he's still killed her.
Yeah. So she gets a Viking funeral pretty much. Well, a funeral by the sea on a big funeral pyre.
Yeah. And you see her and her family go to heaven.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet. Yeah. And we also see the monster paddling off in a boat onto somewhere else, which is very true to the Frankenstein book, the book of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So there is that going on. And then we see Van Helsing and Carl ride off into the sunset or whatever. They've done their job. So setting out for a sequel, which never came. I'm not sure it did that well. Let's have a look.
Yeah, they made 300 million on a 160 million budget.
Well, it was all right then, but I mean the reviews were pretty cruel. Someone described it as the worst summer blockbuster since Battlefield Earth, which is pretty strong going. There's a few B's and there's a few it's so bad it's good. I don't think it's so bad it's good. I think it's just frantic. So the pacing was so fast, and some of the internal logic was hard to follow. I guess if you were slowed up a bit, it would be easier to follow what's going on. And the CGI don't stand up very well.
Nah.
But I quite enjoyed it.
Apparently there were plans, well, may still be plans, for like an expanded, basically redo this as part of the Dark Universe.
This is a way better intro to the Dark Universe than all the other stuff they've come up with so far.
Yeah.
I mean, Dracula Untold, and then The Mummy. First half of The Mummy was fun, but the second half it completely fell to pieces. And Russell Crowe as Jekyll really didn't work for me either. So there was stuff. There's also apparently there's a one shot called Van Helsing Beneath the Rue Morgue. So in that one, Van Helsing deals with Dr. Moreau. How about that? A bit more, Pulp Fiction crossover kind of stuff. There were some bad awards offered for this, which was the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards. It was nominated for the worst film, worst actress, worst female fake accent. Didn't win those. Worst male fake accent, Richard Roxburgh. He won. But it was fine. I didn't have any problem with it. I don't know what they're talking about, really. It did win an award for music, and the music was pretty good. Yeah. Actually. So I did like...
It had the same sort of... It kind of reminded me a lot of the Conan soundtrack, weirdly.
Yeah, it was fun. And I think the costume design and the direction was fine. The CGI let it down a fair bit, but when it was practical, it was pretty fun. It came from a slightly different tradition to Hammer and stuff, didn't it? It was swashbuckly kind of movie. Yeah. What the Hammer film it reminded me most of was actually Captain Kronos. It felt...
I've not seen that.
Again, there wears a long-haired guy who sword fights and fights... He's a... Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter is the film in its full title. There's a lot going on there. And like even there, his love interest in that, who's Caroline Munro, is similar in many ways to Kate Beckinsale, long brown hair, sort of good-looking, so it had a kind of similar feel to me. It's a good fun film, that. One of Hammer's best, actually. I really enjoy that one. And Hugh Jackman was kind of shy. I would definitely watch more Van Helsing. I think they'd have to get someone else in, someone younger. Maybe that guy from Kick-Ass, maybe? Or was it The Kingsman? Something like that.
Yeah.
I could kind of see that. So overall, not bad. What? Any last thoughts?
Not really. I've got nothing.
Okay, what would you give it out of 10?
I'd give this an easy 8.
8? Oh, very high. I'll give it a 7.
Very entertaining.
It is entertaining. It really gets let down by the CGI. Really, that's its the weakest points of the CGI and the plot, the frantic plotting is kind of confusing. But I can't fault the acting. I can't fault the characterisation. I really liked all of the main actors, everyone. I thought they were all good. So it all worked for me, really, in all other respects. So, not bad at all. Okay, then, let's wind it up there. So, bye from me.
Bye.